Hey, welcome to day 2 of the Spiritual Yoga Challenge. And Mercury went direct today, so I'm having a little better luck with my technical communication. So I'm going to share my screen. Just to review from yesterday. Okay. So this was the shot that I wanted to share with you when we were talking about the Nadi Shodhana, the alternate nostril breathing. And it balances the left and right hemispheres of the brain, but it also balances the Ida and the Pingala nadis. So these are the subtle energetic channels in our body. So you see the Sushumna goes up the spinal cord, and then you have these secondary nadis, the Pita and the Pingala, and they crisscross right at specific points. So if you see those balls of light, and those are chakras. Those are wheels of energy. And we're going to talk more about that on Thursday. But just so you know, there is a connection, an energetic connection within our physical body. All of this is held and contained. If you're familiar with acupuncture, they use these energetic meridians and nadis. So just wanted to share that with you. And today we're going to talk more about the physical body, the spine. All right, so the spine holds that Sushumna nadi, the main nadi, but it also physically provides structure and support. It's part of the axial skeleton along with the skull and the rib cage. So our arms and legs are the appendages. And I'm going to talk about the natural curves of the spine, which can get exaggerated over time. So there's lordosis and kyphosis, right? Or the hunchback, or you can have a sway back. And the yoga practice can actually help with the spine if there's any compression in the vertebrae. And it can also release a lot of painful tension that we hold in the muscles that surround the spine, which is called the erector spinae muscles. It's a group of muscles that support that. And just a quick little diagram just to show the different parts of the spine. So we have the tailbone or the sacrum. And then the lumbar spine is the low spine. And that's where we usually hold a lot of pain and tension because it's right behind the abdominal muscles. So if we have weak abdominal muscles, we'll tend to get more pain in the low back. And then we have the thoracic spine or thoracic vertebrae, and that's the mid back. And then the cervical is the neck. And you see those natural curves, and that can be where it can get exaggerated. So in the thoracic spine is where the hunchback could be. And then right where the lumbar meets the sacrum is where we can get the lordosis or sway back. So I'm going to demonstrate the 6 movements of the spine, but basically it's flexion and extension, or forward and back. And then we have the lateral extensions, the left and the right side. So those are side stretches, and rotations or twists, left to right. I'm going to stop this share. And Actually, I think it's better over here. There we go. So, sitting in the chair. You can see my head. Actually, I'll bring it a little higher so you can see. I want you to see as much as possible. I'll bring this off. Okay, so we're sitting in a chair, right? And the alignment to do these moves is to sit up so your back isn't pressed onto the back of the chair. So purposely upright. I'm using my core muscles to hold myself upright. My feet are flat on the floor and my heels are right in line with my knees. My knees are right in line with my hips. So this is like mountain pose, but in a chair. You can just roll the shoulders down and back and try to just get nice and soft. In this upright seated position, I'm pressing down through my sits bones and I'm lifting up. So my core muscles draw inward and then upward. It's called Uddiyana Bandha. That's fun to say, but I'm really like lifting my rib cage away from my hips. So have nice stability. That's why we do this here. We have stability in our core. And the top of my head is lifting up. So I'm like going in opposite directions. I'm pressing down and lifting up. So I'm nice and strong. My shoulders are relaxed. So they're not part of the lift. They're nice and relaxed. That's why I like to roll the shoulders and just relax in there. So the face is relaxed, the shoulders are relaxed. And we'll do the first two movements of the spine, the flexion and the extension, or forward and back. So the extension is bringing the heart forward, and I'll go to the side so you can see me. It's just bringing the heart forward. So I'm extending the spine, I'm strengthening these back muscles while I stretch the front. So that's the flexion. That's the extension. The flexion is rounding, right? So I can drop my chin to my chest, and I'm now stretching my back, and I'm tightening the front. So I'm really drawing my navel in. And then we move forward and back with the breath, right? So we inhale forward, and then exhale round back. Move forward and back. And I'm moving at the same pace as my breath. So if I wanted to go fast, or if I want to go slow. Good. So that's the first two movements of the spine. The second two movements of the spine are the lateral extensions or side stretch. And from a chair, you can bring your hands to the side of the chair and then just dipping over to one side. Try to keep both your sits bones pressing down and then just dipping over. If you want to take a hand and reach it to the floor, that can give you a little bit more stretch. So you're feeling it stretching on one side, but on the other side, can you almost like squeeze and come up and then just go on to the other side. And if this stretch on this side might feel a little different, you can even reach your hand down to get a little bit more intense. And then come back up. So you can add on to this if you want to add the arms. That will extend the stretch up higher. So you can reach one arm up overhead and then stretch it over to the side. Good. And then come back up. So when I come back up, I'm using my core muscles to bring myself up. So then I come up to the other side and reach. Keeping the sits bone pressing down and then come up and let go. So that is the side stretch. And again, you can do that at a pace that feels right for you. Sometimes even like hanging out in it can feel really good, but if you want to just move side to side to open it up a little bit, this is really good for our obliques and our intercostal muscles, getting a nice stretch. And this is really good for balance, right? With the outer muscles are strong, it helps us in our midline, so we get more balance. So those are the lateral stretches. And the last one, if I'm allowed to have a favorite, it would be this. It's the rotation or the twist. So I'm going to start it really, just get it really slow so you have a good understanding of it. So we'll start at the navel. So my hips stay where they are, right? This is the foundation. And I'll just move my navel over as far as it can go. And that's it. And then I'll take my rib cage and rotate it as far as I can go. And that's it. And then I'll take my shoulders and twist as far as I can go. And then just stay. And if I want to move my head and allow my head to look over, I can do that. And then I'll just unwind. So I'll bring my chin back right in front of my chest, bring my shoulders in line with the rib cage in line with my navel, and navel in line with the hips. So that's slowing it down a lot, but I like breaking it out like that so we get a bigger understanding of it. So we'll just do the same thing on the other side. So navel, ribs, shoulders, and maybe neck. Neck is optional. And then bringing the chin back to the center, the shoulders, the ribs, and the navel. Okay. So to go deeper in the twist, when we want to go in, I like to use my hand on the opposite leg. So on the outside of the leg could be good. The other hand can just be on the chair or just right next to you, whatever feels right. And then I'll push my leg away and go into that twist. I want to keep my spine tall, right? So I'm not leaning, I'm nice and tall, and it's only twisting. And then come back to center. Take a pause and just feel that unwinding sensation. That's really cool. It's a very detoxifying move, right? Because when we twist, we're kind of cutting off the flow from the vena cava. And then when we unwind it, it goes whoosh. So it's a nice cleansing. So we'll just go on the other side. So hand to the outside of the leg and then press away. You can twist and just feel that. Breathe into it. And then come back to center and relax. Twists are also really great because it helps break up any density being held in our connective tissue. So that's why I really like it. Sometimes the vertebra can speak to us a little bit. We'll get a little pop, and that's another nice release. We don't want to force that to happen, but when it does, it can be a really nice gift. So I'll go on to, since I'm here, instead of getting up and coming back down, those are the 6 movements of the spine. The other thing that I want to share with you is moving the joints, right? So we can get very stiff, and especially if you have arthritis, to have difficulty moving through the joints. So I like to every day just move through the joints, and I'll start with the smallest, the fingers and the toes, and just getting them, even doing a little like open shut them, right? And then moving through the rest. And while I'm at it, I'll move through the ankles. This is why it's nice doing this in a chair. And then moving through the elbows. So the elbows and the knees are hinge joints, but we can get a little circular with them. So just moving in ways that feels right for you. Good. And the shoulders. The shoulders and the hips are ball and socket joints. So it's sitting in a chair, you can just take a knee and just roll it out, and that'll roll out your hip joint. So in a chair, it's easier just to do it one leg at a time. If you're in a standing, it's really nice to just bring your hands to the hips and make circles with your hips and just opening it up that way. But this, because they're ball and socket, they move through all planes. Good. And then I'll do the neck. So we hold a lot of tension in our neck and shoulders. So doing the shoulder rolls is really good, but also bringing the neck into it a little bit. We want to be careful. We just want to be mindful. So just dropping the chin to the chest, and then bring the left ear to the shoulder. Get it, chin to the chest, and then right ear to the shoulder. Good. And if you want to do circles, just make them very slow and small circles. You really don't want to strain the neck. There's a lot of small muscles here that we don't want to pull, and you can go in the other direction. And then even just looking over one shoulder and then the other. So you get a nice stretch in the side of the neck. So if you do that every day, just moving the joints and moving the spine, there's a lot of, you get stronger and you have more mobility. And it's just really changed my life. That's why I share it. So it doesn't have to be hard. We don't have to touch our toes to do yoga. Just these movements. So this is a little introduction for that. So I'm going to move back over. And we'll come back to our PowerPoint. Yes. Okay. All right. All right, so the definition of the joint is the area where two or more bones meet. So we have a lot of joints, especially in the feet. The joints hold the skeleton together and it supports movement. And joints function through that range of movement. So it's good to have that every day, and especially if you're sitting too long, to get up and just walk, just move around. The types of joints, so I touched upon it a little bit. So the ball and socket joint, which you could see in the shoulders and in the hips. The pivot, which we did with the neck, just even looking side to side. That's why we want to be really careful if we're doing head rolls, to be mindful of it, because it really is a pivot joint. The hinge joint, which is the elbows and knees. And there's the ellipsoidal, which is in the hands, so in the wrists. So you can even like feeling that movement. It's almost like a ball and socket, but it's a little more limited. And then you can see the anatomy of that through the knee and the hip. So you see that ball and socket, how it just fits right in. And then the knee is that hinge joint. Okay. So that is pretty much what I wanted to cover today. Tomorrow, we're going to get into meditation. So I just wanted to close as we did yesterday, just tuning into the breath. So So we're holding ourselves upright, maybe feeling the belly moving and releasing with each inhale and with each exhale. The breath is our communication with our inner self and our outer world. You can imagine that your inhale is the universe's exhale. So we have this connection to all that is around us. And our exhale is the universe's inhale. So we're connected, we contribute to. And just a few more breaths like that. Just feeling the support of all the stars and planets, the earth, the rivers and the trees, the ocean and the mountains. Feeling the ebb and flow of your inhale and your exhale, and just like the tides of the ocean coming in and out. And allow the rhythm of your breath to bring you calm, clarity, and connection. So we place our palms together in front of our heart space in this posture of reverence and gratitude for our practice and for each other. Namaste.
Namaste.